Okay, welcome back, folks, to the last session of the afternoon. We have Joint Fiscal Officer Nolan Langwell here to talk to us about the H660, which is our opioid settlement fund bill. And you have this on your committee webpage, so you can turn to the spreadsheet that's there. Nolan,
Hi,
welcome.
thank you. For the record, Nolan Langwell, the Joint Fiscal Office. I'm going to share my screen. This should be posted. Oop, that's not what I want to share. Oop, ignore that. Stop sharing. That's the wrong spreadsheet.
Oh,
Oh,
come on. I know.
that one's budget. That one you'll get later. That's my work in progress.
You'd be interested in all of the testimony we heard from BCF today.
Wow.
Did they share with you the spreadsheet 25, 26, 27? The GA and OEO appropriations and,
I have not seen it yet.
okay, I'm going to share that with you because actually it would be helpful if it jives with what we believe.
Chair, is that a document that we all got earlier in the week? That they said?
You got it,
You
right?
got
You
it
got it
today.
about 5 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why
Thank
it's
you.
not showing up on my screen. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, there we go.
Okay.
All right. So what you have before you, this is a spreadsheet that I put together for the committee to kind of help reconcile the differences between what OSAC had recommended and what the health department had recommended. So I put them all in one place. And I broke it out by, both of them had existing ongoing projects and then new funding. And they also had sections about initiatives that were recommended for future funding, but weren't being recommended now because like placeholder for the future. But what I also did was in alignment with what I did last year, which is also what has already been appropriated from the previous bills. So on the far right, you'll see Act 16 from 2025, Act 113 from 2024, which was stuff that was in the budget bill, Act 178, which was the other opioid bill from 2024, and then Act 22 from 2023. So you can get a historical of what have we already appropriated to those folks. In terms of what has been spent, that's a different spreadsheet that the health department has put up, and I can pull that up if there's questions about that. But in terms of why has money been spent and why hasn't been money spent, I will defer that to the health department.
Okay, so hold on just a second. Just trying to wrap my head around it. Existing ongoing projects, new requests. Oh, okay, sorry. It's more than one page. I was just, I only had on my screen the first page. I'm like, but where is the other thing?
It's more than that.
Um, 58 DPS.
That's what a flag that I believe it was in somewhere, you probably know this. There's also an appropriation in the budget that is for recovery residences that is outside, that has been appropriated to the opioid fund through the fund in the past, but is actually part of the budget outside of the opioid fund this year.
Mhm.
I think health department decided it was not, they didn't want to do it as part of the OSAC. They did it as part of their recommendation. I will defer to them as to why they did it outside of OSAC.
They actually testified to
Okay.
that, and it was actually a refreshing change.
I'm just flagging it.
They're recognizing, they actually made a point to say, to talk about sort of the continuum of supports and recognizing the value and the importance of recovery housing, and moved it to the base budget. So
That's not in the sheet because this is only meant to be the OSAC.
So questions? This is actually, I thank you very much because it provides in one place.
Yeah.
Um, what, we can see the history of. And, as you can see over there on the right-hand side, the difference between the different acts, the budget bill, and then, Act 22 and, Act 16 rather from last year where we put it all in, its own standalone bill. So that's very helpful. Yeah, go ahead.
I actually have started reaching out to, I've got most of them done, for a spreadsheet of how they actually use the funds.
Mhm.
Only one person has gotten back to me in a week. 'Cause it's hard to vote on something when we don't know how they're spending the money. And then asking for additional monies. And one person got back to me, I'd have to look it up. It was Community Care Network is the only one so far.
Yeah.
So how
Yeah, I mean, the health department, it would be,
I sent them.
did you ask the health department about, what reporting that they have? You haven't heard back from them either?
And also remember, especially for the ones where the smaller, like the new, they're small nonprofits, so it might take them a little longer to go through, have their finance department kind of pull that out, so maybe, yeah, wait a few more.
Yeah, go ahead.
So just as, these organizations all have agreements with the state.
Yeah.
So the health department in their grant agreement will have like performance measures and standards and scopes of work. So they would really be the ones responding to a request like that rather than, like, I just feel like it would be an inefficient use of the providers to respond to, because they're already doing it for the department. So I would just, in case the department is here and Jessica's here, I think they probably have a lot of good data that study's looking for.
One of the,
Where?
at the health department.
On their website.
No, I'm pointing at Jessica and they.
Okay.
So I just want to clarify a couple of things, first off. So, responsibility of the legislature as an equal, constitutional part of government is to hold the administrative part of government, the oversight and accountability for the administration of the policies that we set. It is their responsibility to be assuring that the things that were funded and that have gone out to community organizations or that they spend internally meet the legislative intent. It's our responsibility to ensure that. So it's not actually our responsibility to be providing what I guess I would call oversight or whatever of community organizations. Our responsibility as a legislature is to provide oversight of the department to assure that they are doing their job in actually doing the oversight of these contractual obligations. I'm not telling anybody they should be or should not be doing anything. I just wanted to be clear about where the sort of like oversight and responsibility lies for the individual grants that you see here. It lies with either, as you can see here, the Department of Health or with the Department for Children and Families or Department of Public Services. There's the department or agency is listed for each one of these. So that doesn't mean that we can't have his individual interest, wanting.
Right, anybody can ask.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I could ask as a person on the street.
Yes, I'm just laying out what our duties as a legislative body are. Yeah, go ahead, Representative Bishop.
No, I'm trying to determine, we have some of the requests that align, some that don't. There's varying amounts of just over $5 million to $5.86 million. What is the pool of funds that we should be considering when we are making our decisions?
That's why I wanted to know what the balance was in the OSAC fund.
Yeah, and I guess, any balance plus what funds are available this year, because theoretically, in theory, we could come up with an amount that's in excess of the higher of these two.
That's why I did ask Nolan before we went online with what the balance is, and because we do have reversions coming in from the health department. I don't know if that language got submitted to Katie yet. Jessica, did that get submitted to Katie today?
We got something today, I haven't looked.
Okay. So there's reversions coming back in for money that's not going to be spent. And it was a good, good little chunk of money, the department testified to the other day. So, looks like no one's looking for something in particular. Yeah, so we'll give him a minute to do that. Or if it's something that you would prefer to get back to us on, Nolan, that's,
No, I'm just pulling up the health department report because they have
the balance in that report.
the balance in that report.
And then theoretically, we would add to that the reversions.
Theoretically, yeah. That's
Is
what,
that report based on, I don't have the report right in front of me. Is it based on cash or is it based upon obligations?
it's got all of it. It's got, that's what, let me pull it up.
Thank you.
And Madam Chair, would I understand this fund correctly, that it is something that is replenished each year from the national settlement? So we get the cash, we spend it down. We get a certain amount of cash, we spend it
Yeah,
down.
it doesn't come all the way back up to here because it's all dependent upon the terms of the settlements. And there's more than one settlement.
The year varies by
The
year.
year varies, yes. And thank you, Nolan, for pulling that up.
Sorry, yeah, I had it up. I was just trying to,
Whole figure.
yeah, do that. But this is, ooh,
While he's looking for that, I would recommend that, take a look on within the health departments, because there is a notation there, that does recognize that, all four of these programs require ongoing funding. There's a couple of bullet points. If only these four ongoing fundings are currently expected funding, the fund will go into a deficit within a decade. Should the legislation continue to appropriate funding at the prior average annual amount of 8 million, the current expected federal funds continue, the fund will go into a deficit within 1 or 2 years.
so I was gonna get to that. Thank you for bringing that up. So what this sheet does, if you have, and this is, should also be on your website, if not, Health Department has submitted it before. This is in that report that they, in their report. So you have the total appropriation for each program, how much has been obligated to date, total unobligated to date, total spend, and then the remaining balance. So that's how they, and if you scroll down to the bottom, sorry, it's either $16 million sort of or $16 million bottom right, that's the total that has the remaining balance. Now, to Representative McGuire's point, we have about 4 million or so coming in each year, and we're spending, 6 to 8 million or whatever each year. So there's a right now we have the excess, and to their point, we have more, we're spending more each year than it's coming in each year. So that's why they're projecting a deficit. Now, that's just a modeling with basically an assumption, and they have a whole sheet on that in the report too, which I honestly, no offense, I thought was laid out not very clearly, because it took me a little while to kind of understand what they're trying to do, but that might be just the way my brain works. But I felt this sheet was actually very good. I will also just remind folks that this does not include one more settlement. I think it's the Purdue settlement, and that's supposed to be, I think, around 20 million is what we're hearing. And from what I also heard, that will likely be like a one-time. So it'll come in a giant fund. And so, but this report is based on what we have in the bank, because that's known. When that Purdue comes in, it still remains to be seen. I don't know if there's a timeline. They don't know yet. So there will be some money coming in, but the point remains the same, and that the funding will run out. It is finite. So I think their point is just be mindful of that, which I believe this committee always is, but that's the point.
And I just would want to caution people that 16.5 million in the lower right-hand corner is not available to spend. Because some of those, there's the date on that report, there's some things like, look at Dale Hireability, they will expend that entire amount by the time the fiscal year is complete, most likely. So, things that have been funded, other than the things that the department told us that they were reverting back into the fund, and that spreadsheet doesn't talk about that. So I just want to caution that, don't look at the bottom right as that's what's available to fund, because that is not what's available to fund. That's the part that you had something at the end of last year. Jessica, do you have something to add?
If Jessica Shabano, Department of Health, on page 3 of our report, we note that the fund has a total balance of approximately 8.6 million right now. And that is based on the current balance of the fund as of fall 2025, plus the 1.44 reversion.
Reversions,
Yes,
okay.
yes. So 8.6 is what we had discussed with the committee and internally as what would be available for this upcoming fiscal year.
Okay, and just because I don't have the report right in front of me, 8.6, does that leave a balance in the fund? You say that, would that provide a balance? Or maybe your recommendations are less than that, let's be safe.
The recommendations, I think on Nolan's spreadsheet were in the 5 to 6 million.
Yeah. Okay, so it leaves a balance, okay.
Is that assuming what you are recommending?
I believe, yes, I believe so.
Okay, so, one, I would encourage you to pull up that report. Lori, is that in our, on our webpage, or should they go to reports?
Oh, I can put wherever you want.
Okay. Okay. That's all right. I would encourage, so people know, are aware of the schedule. So my plan is to, finish H 660 and vote it out by the end of next week. Because appropriations wants it sooner rather than later. I'm going to say out loud, for people who are representing those folks who were recommended by the Opioid Settlement Advisory Committee, but were not recommended by the department. We do not have time to take verbal testimony, but you are welcome to submit a statement in writing as to why you would, why this funding is critical. We don't want a repeat of your whole proposal. I repeat, just please be brief about that. Because we have to consider both, I want our committee to consider both, we have recommendations from two different entities coming to us. And so we have to decide which recommendations we're going to accept and which one we're not going to accept. And people have an opportunity, should have an opportunity to hear from those folks who are not represented by the department's recommendation. But I just need to be honest that we don't have sufficient time to take it verbally. Okay?
Point of clarification, so we're gonna be tasked with choosing one or the other.
Nope, we can choose a
Line by line, we
combination.
can a la carte it.
Okay, that's, I just wanted to get clarification on that.
And just, some of the recommendations are the same,
Yeah,
or some of them are the same organizations with slightly different appropriations.
Yes, yeah.
I have a question. Are those assumed to all be kind of just one-time requests? Or would we see anything where they,
Everything's one time.
Okay.
Because
Except for the four that we
except
have.
for, okay.
But I think that is going to be incumbent upon us to understand whether or not this is actually a one-time request or it is going to require ongoing funding.
Well, and given their kind of the 4 priorities, and I think it'll be good for us to review the 4 priorities that we kind of laid out last year and evaluate like which of these projects kind of, I'm guessing OSAC did that. But I think it'll be good for us to kind of review that and kind of ensure that.
I'll have Katie pull up the original bill and the amendments that we've made to it so that we can be clear. I don't want to recreate the evaluation process that the committee and the department spent months going through. But sometimes we have a difference of interpretation about whether something, meets the intention of this originating statute. So I'll work with Lori to schedule Katie for that, but I just wanted you to have in your brains that we're going to be voting that out next week. Okay. Okay, that'll be it for now. Thank you, Lori, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.